All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Ending the Gaming War, episode 3. My name is Stephanie Hamilton, and here is my friend,
Hi,
Miss
everybody.
Sarah.
This is Kara, and I'm coming to you live from my 16-year-old room today. Really expensive chair that we got him for one Christmas. So anyway, it's
Yeah,
fun to be with you, everybody.
yeah. And I am too in my 15-year-old's room, and I'm from Lee Summit. And I wanted to ask you first, Kara, before we get started, is there anything that your sons are talking about that's related to gaming that's something new, or I don't know? I
Yeah,
just thought,
actually, so my son has been playing a game called Valent. I think that's the name of it. And it's a 5v5, and he's just loving it, the challenge of it. So that's at least new to me, this particular game. And I have done a little bit of research, and it's, definitely a game that I support. And what I like about it is they each have a different role in the team. And then my oldest son, my 21-year-old, he's doing DoorDash and he's playing his MLB. So that's not really anything new there, but it's just nice to know that. That's a great question for our listeners. Anything new in the gaming world with your kid? It's a great
yeah,
question.
yeah. And Isaiah's playing Smash Brothers, Ultimate Smash Brothers, and he's actually making tournaments, and he's actually got brackets, and he's on a team now, a little team that he tried out for and he got on. And so that's what he's been into lately, and he likes organizing it and promoting it, and he hosts it. People can join he'll sometimes give money into it, and people will join it for $5, but they'll join it and they do a tournament, and whoever plays to the end gets the money. So he's been having fun doing that lately. And my
Oh,
youngest
good for
is,
him.
yeah. So he enjoys like that part of it, like the tournament. Like he was a big basketball player. So he liked all that kind of thing, like the tournaments and 1-on-1 and 3-on-3 and stuff like that. So he gets a little bit of that through that. So,
Awesome.
okay.
Well, go ahead and tell us what today's episode is about.
Yeah, well, today we had a conversation, I think, in our first episode where we kind of talked about how we're redefining screen time as a generation. Actually, I looked it up in the dictionary, and the definition said screen time, spent time using a device such as a computer, television, and game console, which I thought was interesting because we've talked about how that is not really part of it anymore. I mean, we're coming from a generation where our parents were like, you're watching too much TV. You're watching too much TV. And that's
Right.
what I think our grandparents, our kids, my parents, the kids' grandparents, what parents are looking at, our parents were looking at was that we were watching too much TV and zoning out. And I think we as parents now look at our kids and we're saying, too much screen time, they're gonna be zombies. And I remember my mom telling me not to do it, and I'm gonna tell my kid not to do it. And so, but we're looking at it from a different perspective now because of learning about gaming and the gaming world, that the screen time is actually different. So would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing I've ever heard is screen time is connection time. And
Ooh.
so, yeah, it's like, it's not actually, in my humble opinion, I think zoning out and watching TV is actually worse than the engagement that my boys are getting through gaming and their brain activity and their thought process.
Yeah,
So,
agree.
yeah, it's not, uh, screen time now is a connection time with their friends and people around them, or, their people that they meet. But also, screen time, when we think of screen time through gaming, it's also something that engages their brain. They're a participant in it. Now, real quick, I interviewed Candy Harris. She's the co-producer in the Call of Duty series, for my TED Talk. And she was saying, I just love this story. She said she watched the latest Star Wars, the last movie that came out.
The Rise
And
of
she was like,
Skywalker.
yeah, she
Yeah.
was like, the whole time I was watching the movie, I was wishing it was a video game. Like, I couldn't believe that I wasn't able to participate in it. I thought that was a cool
Ooh,
perspective
that
on screen.
is. That is. And that is a really cool perspective. I like that. And the researchers, which I found too, like articles online, and they're like really recent, they actually say that we actually watch too much TV. Like we don't game as much as we watch TV. And TV creates obesity and let's see, they also said encourages obesity, boosts violent behavior and aggressive behavior, which is TV. Game time is different. And then another person said, Justine Kalma, which I really liked, was she was just like, we have to redefine what screen time is, because now it's an engagement of thoughts and your mind thinking and people talking and connecting and teamwork. And we don't know what the effects of that at this point, but we do know that it does look different. It's more of I'm playing with someone, I'm strategizing, I'm working as a team. I have a group of people I'm working with, that kind of engagement, strategy and what is it? Smash Bros. He's strategizing which character is he going to use, who's he going to use, what powers do they have, when am I going to use that power, when do I use this power, and he's actually pre-thinking and thinking all this stuff and strategizing on how he's going to beat this other person. So screen time, it looks very different. It's more engaging than it is sitting and zoning out. So I think as adults and moms and people in this world, we have to look at it a different way.
I love that, Stephanie. And again, that's why we're doing this podcast, is so that we can open people's minds and really look at Stephanie and I as your older sibling, right? We've been there, done that. We've learned the lessons. I wasn't listening to a podcast like this of actually like ending the gaming war and embracing your gamer kid. I would have loved this. So just learn from us that, as we do our research for this podcast, and I actually love these quotes, Stephanie. So this is really good.
No, I'm not quoting them exactly, but I liked how they even talked about it as a leisure time. Gaming time is also, we do lots of other leisure. We've talked about this. We've done, we have other leisure activities that we do, and nobody says we're addicted.
Well, yeah, I actually recently on Good Day Sacramento, I'm in California, by the way, everybody. So I was on that news station and we were talking about that, or no, maybe it was the Manny Wolf show that I was on. And I said this, like, I have two friends that are painters. They literally like oil paint. And so obviously they spend hours oil painting. I have not ever heard anyone ever say to a painter, you're addicted to painting. Like, what? No, they're creating something beautiful. What if we look at gaming as our kids are creating something beautiful? Like whether it's like your son setting up a tournament or them building Minecraft. I love your story about Washington, D.C. and tell everybody that one.
Yeah. So we went to Washington, D.C. and we went and did all the tours. And when we got home, I told my kids that they had to do something educational. And they were like, because we were homeschooling at the time. And I said, go make something that we saw on Minecraft. And they did. They made the Washington Monument and I think they made the Abraham Lincoln. I'm not sure, but they did. And then we've done that so far. Like we used to go on field trips. And then when we got home, they had to build something that had regards to what we did on the field trip. And they would come up with these things like, and what's even cooler now is they'll look back when they were kids, little, and what they built when they were little. And then they'll go, oh my goodness, I remember that. And so it's kind of like, even like they're creating memories in that world. And why are we looking at it like it's a bad thing when actually it's creating little memories also, and also thinking about what they're making, like remembering what they saw and why was it important and stuff like that.
Yeah, actually the irony of, I haven't even shared the story with you yet, Stephanie. So when my kids were little, we lived in a different house. And back then they created that house. And so now that we've moved, they can look back on their childhood memory through the eyes of Minecraft.
And they learned scientific stuff, like what mixes with what, chemicals and stuff like that. And I can't explain it explicitly, but yeah, like they learned about fire and wood and how to farm and how to take care of animals. And all of that is engaged in that Minecraft. And it's not like they're zoning out, they're actually learning stuff from it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
stuff that
I'm sure if somebody's listening right now, you would agree too. That's why you're wanting to end the gaming war and be validated in how you're seeing your kids as gamers.
yeah, just again, be curious, don't be critical.
You
Be
know, I like that.
Yeah, I know. That's your quote. I like that quote. That's why I'm taking it.
You're quoting Kara.
Actually, you know, it's funny as I shared your quote with somebody else and they were like, ooh, yeah, be curious instead of critical. They're like, yeah, I
Yes,
like that.
so cool.
So I really, because as parents, I think we need to be more curious. I think we shut our kids off at a certain point and never just kind of say,
Right.
well, that's their world. Well, won't you want somebody to know about you? I want to know about what they're doing. I want to be curious. I want to learn. I want to know who they are. I don't want to just, oh, well, they're a teenager. They have their own world. I'm like, no.
Correct.
Yeah. Actually, so, and then my next thought is how, okay, so we don't say just let them go on screen time, you know, or like let them go in game. They, you know, even when in life, we have to teach our kids how to engage in life too. They need to have their activities and their fun and their hobbies, but we also need to teach them how to engage with. So how do you manage that as a mom? Because even if that painter painted and isolated herself, she's never going to learn how to talk to people, sell her paintings, learn how to interact with people, and she's got to learn how to do that too. So how do we as moms, I look at it that way, that how are we going to manage that with our boys? How did you manage that with your boys?
Well, I think you exemplified that in episode 2. You know, your son walked
Yeah.
in and he's like, we're like, hey, we're in the middle of filming, right? An episode and recording. And he's like, well, hi, it's my room. And there was a quick engagement there. Or when I gave him a compliment, you said, hey, just so you know, she said something to you, you know, if you didn't realize it. So it's like, that's all. That's something that we should be doing no matter what as parents, helping our kids engage no matter what age or stage or no matter what hobbies they have. I, would have to coach my kids. Stephanie, I think this is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
When it came to grandma and grandpa giving a gift, right? I'd be like, okay, even if you don't like it, just say thank you. And later on, we'll either hide it or exchange it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, but in that moment, I had to teach the kids how to engage. And instead of thinking of it as manipulation, we can think of it as teaching our kids custom communication, right? So you're helping them customize. That's the thing. I'm so excited about gaming is because that's a whole different custom language that I don't know, right? Even when my kid came and said, the latest game, the 5v5, I was like, okay, wait, remind me what that is. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
5 versus 5, right? So they have a whole, language in and of themselves where I would struggle engaging with their gamer world. So I would just need to be gently coached. So what's wrong with gently coaching our kids in how to engage with eye contact and kindness and, interaction and saying, how's your day? How's it going? So that's all. I think it's a fair play to say we both need lessons in that, even me at my age.
Yeah, very much. And I try to give them opportunities to engage. Like, okay, it's time to turn it off. It's time to come eat with our family. It's time to play games as a family. Let's play, let's engage, let's talk more. And what's hard is, I don't know about your boys, but my boys do this at dinner where they talk gaming. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, you can talk for a little bit about Minecraft and what's happening, but now you need to kind of talk to us and engage us, and trying to say there's not always people around that are going to talk about gaming, even though that's probably very true in their worlds right now. But you need to also learn to talk about other things and
Well, and
engage
that
people.
goes, and I hear you. And I know a lot of, you know, students or teenagers or kids would be like kind of sad at what you just said, but it's true. Like there's got to be a balance because even me, okay, I'm in the motivational speaker world and I have an entire like different realm of what it means to have body language and tone. And so I'm so engaged in that, but that's kind of boring for other people when I'm constantly talking about speaking, to somebody that could care less about being a speaker. So I think we all have our interests that drive our conversations,
Yeah.
and caring about other people's interests and balancing out. So because the dinner table is the best place to find out about their gaming. So
True.
what we do, but then to a point, a balance. So what we do, Stephanie, in my own family, still to this day, no matter how old our kids get, and even though my son's off to college, when he comes back, we do this. What made you happy today? What made you sad today?
Mm.
And then if they incorporate, what made me happy today, a lot of times my kids will be like, I ranked up or I got to a new level. What made you sad today? Well, at school, a teacher didn't believe me when I wasn't talking or something, So whatever. The point is you want to open that dialogue and you want to teach a balance. That's it. Balance.
Yeah. Balance. I think it's a big balance. Like or like, you want to say at the dinner table, okay, you want to listen about dad's job and all about his job, and you want us to sit here and talk about forever about his job. I mean, you're going to want to hear other things. We want to talk and more engage with other people and learn how to do that and balance it. Yeah. It's really about balancing. I think
So I don't know if you know this, but I actually teach small talk skills as one of my, another
ooh,
job I have and the things I do. So how to small talk, right?
okay.
So you create a common statement like, we all had hot weather today, right? And then you give a disclosure, like a self-share. So I call it CSI, common statement, self-share, and then invitation. So your self-share is just like, I stayed cool by keeping my curtains closed. And then the invitation is, tell me, how did you deal with the heat today, right? So you have a common statement, a self-share, and then an open invitation. So parents, I'm actually teaching right now, you can just keep it open-ended by saying, tell me about why you like that game, or tell me something that happened at school that has nothing to do with gaming, right? So you can direct them through
Yeah.
a conversation.
Another one we do is the high low. What's your high of today? What's your low of today?
Yes, I love
Yeah,
that.
that's a good one. And I need to remember to do that more often because it's hard when they get older. They're like, we know what that means. you know?
Yeah. Well, and here I'm pretty convicted on this though. If we don't purpose to small talk with the people on the planet we love the most, we lose connection
Mm-hmm.
with the people on the planet we love the most. Small talk is actually more important the closer we are. And we just think we know everything about everybody, especially, during this time of all being, a lot of us, it's lifting now, but a lot of us have been in the house together for a long time. So we just assume we know everything, but we don't. So small talk brings that out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would encourage everybody to keep that up.
Or, what other people have done is, put questions in the middle of the table and just pick them and ask them and, stuff like that to connect and get your kids more because boys, especially girls will talk, but boys especially need to kind of draw them out, and so we've just learned how to do that. But you got to do that with people too. As you get older, you have to learn how to do that, connect with other people in other ways. And yeah, or you
Yeah,
don't get connection. You're just
correct.
isolating yourself.
But
So
in my TED talk, my encouragement is parents, grandparents, connect with gamers too, right? It goes both ways. So ask 3 questions. Like, what games do you play? Why do you enjoy playing them? And can I watch a game sometime? Some of my best connection points with my kids are actually when I'm overhearing them game, or I come in and I just sit there while they game. And then I hear them say to their friend, like, hey, our history homework's really hard. Or, I didn't like that so-and-so was a jerk today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I get a lot out of my kids listening to them
listening
game,
to them.
Yeah.
I think another thing I was just thinking about is I hate to go on a tangent, but just like getting our parents to engage with our kids on that level about their stuff. That's hard too. Like getting their grandparents to ask them
Yeah.
questions about their gaming and stuff like that. I think that even too is tough as a mom. So they're not critical. They're not sitting there going, well, you let them play. What are you doing? And just trying to be the bridge to that. And I think that's tough too. And just wanting to teach them. So it's all about teaching and small talk and engaging with others to connect the bridges that that bring us together.
Well, and we're kind of getting here at time, but your whole point, Stephanie, today is screen time can be connection time.
Yeah.
And the whole goal, to sum this up, is that we want to keep connection,
Yeah.
whether it's with the balance, talking about other things, or it's the connection of knowing and caring about your gamer kid and his games, or the connection that they have right here on the screen with everybody else. It's
Yeah.
keeping connections alive.
Yeah.
And that is the key here today, that we're not downing gaming. We
No.
are embracing it as connection, and we keep connection going on all those different levels.
Yep. And not to get yourself like trying to connect from the last episode, not to be guilty of using that term screen time as a bad thing. It's actually looking at it from a different lens and redefining it as a good connection time. Yeah.
Wow. That is so good. And you know what? I get lambasted for that philosophy, but I'm going to keep preaching it because
Yep.
I have found it so valuable for my relationship with my sons. And being women of faith, I'm a pastor's wife, and we're both Christians, and I love that even the connection that my kids have had in who they are on gaming, right? They're the kids that aren't the big cussers and the trash talkers. And so I feel like they can witness through their connection as well, And so it's been neat to see that engagement too, that they're a different sort of gamer. They really are. I'm proud of my boys for who they are in the gaming world.
Yeah. I mean, I remember praying about my son and about whether I wanted to release him into this world and, of gaming. And it made me realize that he could be a light in the midst of the darkness and stand for the kingdom. And why couldn't he do that in the midst of the gaming world and his friends and who he connects with, and to be an example? So, and I've met other people like that. So it just brought me hope too, that it can be possible and not to be afraid. So, yeah.
So yeah, letting them connect even in Christ through their portals.
Yep.
This is beautiful. It's been another great episode.
All right.
Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Yep. Join our gamer community on Facebook and watch for our coaching coming. And we're just thrilled that we can be a part of your life.
Yeah. And want to support you and love you through the process. All right. Thanks, everyone.